Hello and welcome back. This is episode 4. I love creating, and I know you do too. Now all I want to do is find out more about you. So welcome to Out of Fashion TV. Artists supporting artists, that's where you're supposed to be. And on that note, today we have a special guest, Lizzy King! Woo, 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 woo. Cue the freaking invisible clapping in the background. Okay. So before we start, can you tell us a bit about you?
Yeah, so
Just imagine that I don't know you at all.
I am Lizzy King and I'm a singer, songwriter and producer, currently based in like Bournemouth, Dorset. Yeah, so I write my songs and then I produce instrumentals so that I can sing them live.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's me.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Sounds like you're eligible for this interview then. Okay. So, thanks for sharing that with us. What's your favourite number?
My favourite number is probably 2.
2?
Yes, it's my date of birth. The second.
Date of birth?
Yeah.
Second
Of the 12, so that's another 2 in it.
Ah.
And then 2001. So
2001?
2. Yeah. So
proper
I think I've
millennial.
decided at 2.
Okay. This has been a bit heterosexual. Right, okay. Oh, okay. That's interesting. I was just about to ask you a spiritual question there, because I used to know someone who was born on the 22nd of February 1980.
Oh wow.
And they've got sixth sense.
Really?
So I'm wondering if, you know...
Maybe.
Yeah.
I do like... I do pick up on things quite easily and I'm like quite a spiritual person and I'm quite intuitive.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe it's got something to do with it.
maybe. Or maybe not. Is that how many years... So you said your favourite number is 2. Is that how many years you've been creating music?
No, I've been creating...
Hail to the no!
I've been creating music for like years, like so long. Like since I was like... Well, I've been singing since I was just a little dot. And then I've been like writing my own music since, I don't know, I was like probably 9 or 10. Yeah, my first song was about a UFO.
Yeah?
And then it slowly evolved into, you know, Lizzy King's new music.
Nice.
Yeah.
Were you called Lizzy King back then?
No, I went under a different name. But I believe that Lizzy is like, that's my performance name.
Yeah.
It's sort of, Lizzy is different, you know. And I was in a band before as well called the Oracles for a short while. Was
that like an all-girl band? Or?
No, it was me and then 2 boys. Again, I was quite young then as well. I think I was probably like 14, 13 at the time.
Okay.
But I think, you know, throughout all that I've discovered that I really enjoy being a solo artist.
Yeah.
So...
Less political.
Yeah. It is, yeah. And, you know, you get complete free rein with your creativity. Whereas obviously when you're in a band you've got to consider other people's views and what they want. And obviously it's nice to have different creative inputs, but I'm very much a perfectionist. So
that's why your music is so good.
Oh. Yeah, if it's not perfect, I don't want to do it.
Can you remember any of the lyrics from that UFO song?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
The chorus was very simple. It was like, well, leading up to the chorus, it was like, I was walking down the street, I hadn't had that much to drink. It was late in the night when I saw something in the sky. I didn't know what it was really weird. And I thought it was a UFO.
Not a WTF.
UFO.
Sweet.
Went a little bit like that.
So if anybody wants Lizzy to release that song, just let her know.
Yeah. Follow for my next EP.
So you actually saw a UFO that night?
I've seen UFOs. I didn't see one that night.
Mm.
That was just like for the lols. But yeah, I believe that I've seen UFOs and paranormal stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen a ghost before.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen ghosts. Like probably more ghosty stuff than UFO stuff.
Yeah.
But I definitely believe in all of it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, just open up your mind.
Yeah.
That's the best way forward, viewers.
Absolutely.
Which takes us on to the next question. Are you doing music for laughs or taking it seriously like the rest of us?
I think...
That's my best Essex accent.
I think for me, like, I'm definitely taking it more seriously, and I think obviously you have to have fun with it and you've got to have a laugh with it. But it's what I want to do as a career.
Yeah.
And I think again, my perfectionism slips into that as well. I do take it quite seriously.
Yeah.
And I think some musicians sort of judge me for that in a way.
Yeah.
You know, when I rock up like with my own microphone or like I don't know, just certain things that to me are very important. But yeah, I do take it quite seriously.
Okay, thank you. Now, like, so I know you've done at least one cover before. Do you think there's any hope for like original artists here in Bournemouth?
No, definitely
covers?
not. I think in Bournemouth we're quite lucky because people enjoy both. You know, you hear about some places where people say, oh, you know, if you don't do covers then you can't play here, blah blah blah. But I think, you know, around here there is quite a nice spectrum.
Yeah.
There's people who just do covers, there's people who just do originals, there's people who mix them up. I think it's really great. Like, you should feel comfortable doing either one.
Yeah.
So.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Thank you. And on that note, what or who has made you believe that you can actually become successful from a career in music, and why?
I think definitely my family.
Great.
Like, number one, my family. Because they're, you know, I come from quite a musical background, and not only that, but I'm very lucky in that I've got a very supportive family. They really believe in me. You know, I've got supportive friends. And I've got a lot of inspirations as well who have achieved it. So it's like, well, if they can achieve it, then why can't I? So, yeah.
Can you elaborate on that a bit more? Like, what have any of your family like succeeded as an artist or anything like that?
Yeah. So, like, my great aunt was a really successful opera singer.
Okay.
Like, I find that really inspiring.
Was that Susan Boyle?
One of my cousins, like, he's been quite a successful producer. My uncle, he's like a conductor and orchestrator for films and stuff, like, so you know, and my dad, he's worked with a lot of successful people, helped them achieve their goals.
Okay.
So I think, yeah, that has quite a big part to play.
I can relate to that, and I know it's not about me, it's about you today, but I just thought I'd mention that one of my cousins over in Thailand, he's well known for being a famous boy band called B-Mix, and he started up a new one, but I can't remember what their name is. It's a play on their names, but yeah. So yeah, I can relate to that.
It's really nice when it's your family who you're seeing being successful.
Exactly.
It's really inspiring.
Thank you for sharing that. Can you remember the last band that you saw live, whether it was unsigned or established?
So established bands, I really can't remember who I would have last seen, because it probably would have been before the pandemic.
Okay.
And I used to go to like Reading Festival quite a lot, and like just gigs all the time, so I can't really pinpoint when that would have been. But more recently I've been seeing like loads of smaller unsigned bands, and like, because even, you know, I'll go to a lot of open mics and I consider them like artists and bands, and I consider that going to a gig almost, because I really enjoy it. I really enjoy watching the other acts. So obviously, you know, that sort of thing. And I think the last like gig that I went to would have been Hand Dogs for Hire.
Shout out to Hand Dogs for
Hire.
Hire.
It was so good. It was really good fun.
A Johnny Regulator. I love
that one.
That's my favourite one. What's your favourite song by Hand Dogs for Hire?
Probably that one actually. It's
like
so
really,
good.
really rocking, like blues rock. Yeah.
Because I really like blues as well. So like, yeah, right up my street.
And do you remember the song by them called Whiskey and Wine?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was a cover or something. And then I started following Romeo Kennedy. Shout out to Romeo on TikTok, and I discovered that it's his song.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's such a good song.
They're so catchy, like yeah, really good.
And on that note, shout out to Lizzy, who's actually here today. That song, the water one.
Just Like Water.
Just Like Water, yeah. I love that one the most.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's what we do here, isn't it? Bigging up artists.
Got to support each other.
Exactly. If I was to steal your phone, your MP3 player, your Walkman, which 3 artists or bands would I be listening to?
I have like such a broad music taste, and I like to listen to like individual songs at a time. Like I don't tend to go for like artists at a time, but I think probably at the moment you'd find a bit of Tracy Chapman.
Which was your favourite Tracy Chapman song?
Even though it's like one of her most popular songs, I think Baby Can I Hold You?
Alright, yeah.
And like, I just love it.
I wasn't expecting you to answer that one. I thought you might say Fast Car like everybody else. But
I like Fast Car as well. But yeah, I really like that one, and I like singing along to it as well, like in the car,
Sweet.
you know.
Yeah. And what's the other two artists?
Probably George Michael.
Mm-hmm.
Love George Michael. And Britney Spears. Love a bit of Britney.
Yeah, don't we all?
Yeah.
On that note, going back to support from family, I actually had no idea. I wasn't following it at the time, but something happened between her and her dad. Can you remember what that was?
To my understanding, it was like a conservatorship. I think I'm saying that the right way. So basically, he had ownership of her life, and she couldn't do anything without asking permission first. But I'm pretty sure like she's free from it now.
Yeah.
I think she won a court case, so
Okay.
It's
Cool.
good.
So, is there any way that you can relate to that with you and your own family, or you're going to have your own rights when you get a deal, or?
I think my family are quite involved in, you know, in what I do with my music and in my life in general. We're a very close-knit family.
Yeah.
But they respect my boundaries. And I can't see them ever doing that. I really trust them. And I trust that they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I say, like I'm not afraid to establish boundaries, even if it's with my family. Like, I'll speak up, whoever it's with, you know?
Yeah. Well, good for you. Very good for you, actually. So that takes us on to the next question. Do any artists before you, for example your family, influence you, or do you believe that you've got your own sound?
I think, of course, every musician is going to be influenced somewhat by the artists that they love, including myself. You know, I've definitely taken inspiration from like artists or a certain song from somebody else, but I think on the whole my music does sort of come from within.
Yeah.
And I think I've now, because I've been writing for quite a long time, I've sort of established my own sound and my own style. But yeah, I just like try and get my inspiration like from source. Let it just like come down into me, you know.
Which sauce? Tomato sauce or mayonnaise or?
Yeah, ketchup.
Ketchup. Yeah, it's good to be catching up, isn't it? Yeah. And on that note, are there any messages that you are conveying or like to convey from your music?
Absolutely. I think.
Care to share?
I think for me, like as cheesy as it is, my main goal is to spread love. And I say it so much to people, like, people are scared of love.
Yeah, they are.
And it's really, really sad, and it's a big problem. People are afraid to feel love, whether it's from somebody else or giving it to somebody else. And with my music, I try and like break that a bit. And like I'm Reiki 1 attuned as well, so I try and like incorporate that into my music and into my performances. Yeah, for me it's all about love. That's the message for me.
What about your opinions, your beliefs, perhaps political ones, and you know that ilk, kind of ilk?
I think that probably comes into it a little bit. I think especially, like, I'm quite a strong feminist at heart, and I think, you know, when I'm speaking to people, I don't really share it very much.
Right.
And so I guess, you know, I've written a couple of songs that are sort of that way inclined. So that probably helps me convey that message. And I think it, you know, in the future I'd definitely like to continue writing songs that express certain political ideas. Like we've spoken about, you know, veganism and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get out of it.
But again, it all goes back to love. Like
love for one another. Love for our furry. Well, yeah, just be kind to all kind.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's love itself.
Yeah, for sure. And helping people heal as well.
Yeah.
Like I did a performance recently at Bournemouth University. The Arts University, and
would you like to give a shout out to anybody in regards to that?
Yeah, Halfway Down Theatre.
Yay! Yes. Shout out to you guys.
Super good. It was amazing. And Kay for hosting it. but yes.
Were there any other hosts, or was it?
Well, yeah, Mimi was hosting it rather, and then Kay organised it. So yeah, it was a really awesome event. But I sang a song that's really quite close to me called "There Is No Agony," and it's about quite a traumatic event that I went through.
Okay.
And afterwards, I got talking to a woman in the audience who this song really resonated with. And I actually saw her again last night. I just bumped into her, and she was
a poet?
Yeah, I won't mention her name.
I think I know.
But she was a really lovely person, and she came up to me last night, and she was telling me, like, after she'd heard that song, for the next few days she felt like shit, but she released a lot.
Yeah.
And like it made me tear up a little bit. Like, it was really special. And I just think, if I can do that with my music, if I can help people let go of any shit that they need to let go of, or like, you know, spread love in that way, I think, like, that's my goal achieved. Do you know what I mean?
That's what you got to do. Well, we're already doing it. We're already doing it.
Yeah.
We're all connected, aren't we?
It's all about the good vibrations.
Yeah. It's all about the good vibrations.
Yeah.
Okay. So, this is quite a facetious, almost sarcastic question for you. Imagine a world where there are no record labels or deals and everything is all down to you. How would you go about achieving 3 of your goals?
I would promote. I would release...
Wait a minute, stopping you there. What are your most successful methods of music promotion?
I think getting yourself out there, as in like performing, both gigs and open mic nights, travelling for it, I think, which I'm starting to do now, which is like, it's fun as well. And
as long as you can afford it and you got your own way of getting around,
and I think, like, we're quite blessed to have social media. Like, I mean, it is a blessing and a curse. It's got its downfalls, but I think the good thing about it is that it's very easy to promote yourself on there. You know, you've got so many different platforms. If you want to splash out, you can pay for, like, the adverts and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I think also random acts can help promote yourself. Like, you know, dropping your business card on the floor, or you know, putting a sticker in a random place. Like, you don't know who might see it.
Do you know what that's called?
No.
Branding.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so that's one of the goals. Care to mention the other 2? Might have to elaborate on each one.
Yeah. So like releasing music, because I mean that's one of the reasons why I don't have any of my music on Spotify or anything yet. So yeah, like, I would, if there weren't any record labels or anything, I would release all my music, I think. And make music videos.
Just to stop you there, because I don't usually talk about this with other artists, but I know that I can mention it with you. Have you heard any news about Spotify recently?
I've heard, like, bits here and there. The main sort of, like, tea that I read about was the Johnny Mitchell and Neil Young situation with Joe Rogan. I don't know.
Okay.
Do you know?
Yeah, I've heard that one.
Yeah. But otherwise, I'm a bit out of touch. I don't read the news. I don't like reading the news.
There's another one as well, and that's Neil Young, Joni Mitchell, a lot of other musicians as well. They've stopped their Spotify account because the CEO of Spotify, Derek Sale or something, he's using that money to fund artificially intelligent warfare.
Bastard.
Yeah. So I need to take my stuff off there.
Yeah, that's... Yeah. It's annoying though, because, you know, you need these sort of platforms, but I feel like there's, unfortunately, always going to be corruption behind them. You know, whether it's Spotify or it's Amazon Music or it's SoundCloud. Like, you look at all the CEOs of these companies and, like, they're all corrupt and doing, you know, horrible things. And it's frustrating because you don't want to support that, but at the same time, you've got to support yourself. And
that brings me on.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, for example, where do you buy your items from? Like, for example, I buy everything from Amazon, but I'm aware that, like, they're not ethical, they're not eco-friendly. I'm wondering, do you buy off Amazon yourself, or do you go to someone like Etsy?
It's like, it depends what it is that I'm buying, really. I don't really use Amazon that much. To be honest, I don't buy a lot. If it's clothing, I mean, I went for, like, I think it was like a year and a half buying zero fast fashion. I barely bought any clothes, and if I did buy them, it was off of Depop or like charity shops. And that was like really amazing, and I'm glad that I did that. And then recently I've started buying a bit more fast fashion just because of...
What can you explain to us what fast fashion is?
So basically, you know, like a lot of high street brands, like, I don't know, New Look or Primark or Topshop, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where they're mass producing it, it's probably made in a sweatshop. That would be considered fast fashion.
Okay.
And it's really difficult because obviously it's unethical. But I don't know, like, there's so many pros and cons to these things, I think, and there's so much to it. People label it as fast fashion and think that that's it, but it's so much more than that. Or people label, you know, charity shop clothes as slow fashion and think that that's it. But again, there's so much more to it.
Yeah.
Look at how many charities have done unethical things recently. You know, it's like... There's just so much...
I've heard that Oxfam have done unethical things,
so I feel like there's sort of no escaping it, no matter how good you try and be. Probably sounds very controversial.
No, I like that. I like, you know,
it's frustrating.
I haven't really touched base on this sort of thing before, and like, seeing as you're our fourth special guest, and you know the things that we talk about with veganism and stuff like that, I thought, you know, there is no time than now, whatever you call it. And that brings us on to the next thing. You might have heard the expression, you always see lightning before you hear it. So, in regards to that, what do you think comes first? The image or the music?
I think it's obviously a very individual question. For me personally, I think my music comes first. But I think outside of my music and my performing, I really like fashion anyway.
Yeah. Like
so, you know, I'd feel comfortable, you know, we were speaking about it earlier, like sometimes I'll be wearing like my big pink furry coat and like bright colours, and I'd still be comfortable singing like a heavier song or something, because at the end of the day it's still me.
Yeah.
I think that's the key. I think for me, music comes first, and then as long as my fashion represents who I am, whether that's colourful, whether that's dark, whatever it looks like, then that's sort of going to represent the sound anyway. Yeah.
Well, would you say that music and was going to say fashion, but seeing as the question is about image, would you say that music and image are just as subjective as each other?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So
I think they both say just as much about a person.
So perhaps we could possibly say that if someone doesn't like your music, at least they'd like your image.
Yeah.
But then what if they don't like your image, but they like the music? So it's like...
Yeah. I guess it depends what's more important to you. Like... Exactly. Do you want people to care more about the image, or do you want people to care a bit more about your sound, your music? Yeah. I think it depends.
And on that note, are you reading any books that inspire you at the moment?
At the moment, I haven't been reading a lot. I got out of the habit of it, but I've read a lot of inspiring books.
Yeah. Any particular one that you want to shout out? Wink, wink.
Well, one that I have on my reading list is your book.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I do want to read that. Yeah. It looks really
I'm
good.
not gonna do a shameless plug on that one because it's all about Lizzy.
No, shout it out.
Me. Yeah. I just wrote a book on a year of my memoirs as a busker, but it's called Essential into Ethereal. Okay, that's enough about me now. Going back to you. So yes. Any particular books that you'd like to recommend to other artists?
The Guilty Feminist. Yeah, it like I read it last year, and it changed my perspective on so many things, and it really inspired me. So yeah, shout out to that book.
Who's the author, by the way?
It's Deborah Francis something. I'm so bad at remembering names.
Why does that name ring a bell?
She has a podcast as well for it.
Right.
But yeah, great book. And she does like loads of interviews in it as well. It's really cool. Yeah, it's just a really, really good, interesting read.
So Guilty Feminist by Deborah
Francis. I have a feeling it's Deborah Francis Dean.
Deborah Francis Dean, okay.
But I might be wrong. It's Deborah Francis something.
Okay, thank you very much. What are your plans as an artist for this week?
This week, for me, is about chilling out a bit and planning for next week as well. Because I'm planning on going to London again next week to do a bit of singing. But I found like I've been doing so much work on my music, and people think that if you're a musician, like it's all easy stuff, you're being creative, you're having fun, and yeah, it's a lot of fun, but it's quite exhausting sometimes. You know, it takes a lot, and I think especially because I'm very passionate about my vocals. You know, that's my main instrument. You know, when I perform, that's what I do. So I get a lot of vocal training. You know, I'm very fortunate that my dad is my vocal coach. But he doesn't treat me any differently just because I'm his daughter. He'll still thrash me in a vocal lesson.
Not physically.
Yeah. But you know, he'll scream at me if he needs to. He'll like, you know, if I'm not putting enough into it, he'll get me to like get down on my knees and like really go for it. You know, like or punch a pillow. Like he really makes you work for it. So yeah, like if I've been doing a lot of music work, it's an intense week for me. Yeah. But it's fun. But yeah, I do end up a little bit tired.
Okay. Thank you for telling me that. So, what other things do you like to do that are not music related?
I love roller skating.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. Very
That goes
passionate
really
about
well
roller
with
skating.
her hairdo, like
Yeah.
keep it 80s, yeah. Roller skating,
What else do I do? I like painting.
yeah. Painting.
Yeah, I really love painting. And I love.
You're taking the term artist a bit seriously, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah, just a little bit.
What do you like? What do you like to paint?
I paint a lot of spiritual paintings. So like I'm really into like meditation and that. And so if I go on a meditation journey, I'll try and like recreate what I see, or like
That's a good idea.
if I've had like a crazy dream, I'll recreate it, or even just like, you know, cool images that come into me.
How long do you meditate for per day, would you say?
It varies really. I go through different phases. Like recently, I've been doing a lot of self-healing with my Reiki. So that's like half an hour at a time. I pretty much every day I meditate before going to sleep. Helps me sort of like unwind. But I think for me, what works is just trying to incorporate these into everyday life.
Yeah.
Just little aspects of spiritual practices. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yes, of course. And would you say meditation helps you with your writing process? What's your writing process like?
I think it
Is it a
probably.
spiritual one?
I think it probably helps a little bit because I do definitely believe that a lot of my writing comes from like elsewhere. If that makes sense.
Hey, it's over there. No, it's over there now.
Yeah.
Actually, no, it's just under the bed. Stop moving around.
I think meditating though, it helps me sort of like focus and bring it in.
Okay, thank you. I mean, for example, do you ever come up with some kind of melodic riff when you're doing the washing up or the hoovering or?
Yeah, I think. I mean, thinking about it, I think there are certain areas where I have more ideas come to me. Like, it sounds really specific and kind of weird, but like there's a certain road where I've had a lot of lyrics and melodies come to me. There's a certain spot in my house where I've written quite a few songs as well, or at least started to write them.
That's probably where the spirits are, isn't it?
It probably is.
Yeah.
But every song that I write starts differently. Sometimes I start with like strumming my guitar. Sometimes the lyrics will just pop into my head. It's always different. Sometimes I'll get like, even though I don't play bass, sometimes I get like a bass line come into my head.
Yeah.
And so I'll quickly whip my laptop out and like jot it down and yeah.
What program do you use for recording?
I use Logic Pro.
Okay.
It's
Is that the only one that is that the only program that you've been using, or have you tried any other ones?
Well, I started off with Garageband.
Oh. Okay.
So going to Logic, it was quite an easy transition because it's not very different. But yeah, other than that, I haven't tried anything else, to be honest. Like all my production, I've never studied it. It's all sort of like self-taught. So
you're not one of these BIM students then.
No. Part of me wishes that I knew a little bit about it, but then I think at the same time, not knowing any music theory adds to the creativity because you're not worried about what it should sound like. All you go on is how it feels. Yeah. And, you know, if I like the sound of something, that's all that matters to me. I don't care if it's theoretically correct, you know.
And can you actually read music or?
No.
But do you know that?
Not to save my life.
You know that on the stave you've got can you see the FACE on there?
No.
It's pretty easy. So basically the because being autistic, I like reading in between the lines. You know what I mean? So like between the lines, you got the FACE, and that's how I just remember where everything is. But as long as it's the treble clef, but if it's another thing starting on the stage, it's just like I can't absolutely.
I think also it's difficult for me because I grew up in Spain. They use like do re mi fa sol, and then over here they use A B C D E. Like, do you know what I mean? So, and it looks different on the sheet. Yeah. That sounds so like.
Yeah, we're not going to go into that. We're not going to go into that because our heads will explode, and we don't want to do that live. Thank you very much for sharing that. Do you think there is enough support for artists on the local scene? Please be as blunt and brutally honest with this question. Because this is my favourite question.
It's a really good question. I think half of me thinks has enough support, and half of me thinks no. I think in terms of like moral support and belief,
we're talking about original artists here. We're not talking about cover bands and tribute bands and stuff.
I think in terms of support and belief, it's there. You know, especially around here, like people support each other. People show up to their gigs, and I think that's a really beautiful and rare thing. But I think the only thing that is lacking is, I think financial support. Because I think there's a lot of, pubs and bars don't pay artists the right amount. You know, I see so many people doing gigs for free or for very little money, and I just think, you know, it's hard work being a musician. It takes a lot, and I think that should be respected, and you should be paid what you're worth. And
totally agree.
I really sort of recently I've had to put emphasis on worth for myself, because I've had a lot of like opportunities come along where really it's just people taking the piss and trying to get me to perform for free, or, you know, I'm not doing it. I know my value, and if you're not gonna even pay me a bit, then you can forget it, because it's still a service that I'm giving you. I know it's a bit controversial.
No.
And it's kind of ruthless, but you know, it is a business at the end of the day, and you've got to support yourself somehow. You've got to put food on the table, and there are so many artists that are struggling. So I just think they need to be respected in that way. It's not all about money, I know that, but we are living in the 21st century and money is a factor.
Agreed. And on that note, it's like that's what Fish Promotions is all about. Artists helping artists, and at the moment it's just myself, but I'd like to build up a team, a support team, and before that happens, maybe you could share with us, like, perhaps, like, how Pufferfish Promotions could help other artists more in the future, if you don't mind.
I think just like with what you're doing at the moment, it's perfect. You know, doing these sort of interviews and, you know, promoting people by sharing their songs and their performances. I think it's absolutely great, and, you know, more people need to be doing that, whether you're a promotions company or whether you're just like, you know, the next regular artist. You should be all supporting each other and getting each other's names out there. If you like what you see, give it a share, you know?
Yeah.
It's
sharing
really,
is caring.
Yeah, it's not that difficult, you know.
I mean, might consider turning this into a record label one day. Distribution deal, so everything will be via Bandcamp. But you know, see what happens. Yeah, just take it step by step. But yeah, thank you very much for sharing that. And I totally agree with you. Totally agree.
I'm glad, because sometimes, like, you know, you say these things and it does come across the wrong way. I think sometimes. Obviously, that's not my intention. I think I've got quite a strong opinion about it because I've seen so many people lose out and so many people being taken advantage of. Yeah.
And that leads
and
to
it's not
burnout.
right. Yeah, it does. And it's disrespectful to artists.
What do you think of the current relationship between venues and artists?
I think just that, basically, that a lot of the time...
You've kind of answered that already, but...
A lot of the time, I mean, obviously it's not... I'm not saying that this is all venues, but I just think there are a lot of venues that take advantage of artists. And do you know what? Like, another thing that's come into my mind, there's a lot of places that won't accept artists if they only do originals. I've noticed that quite a lot recently.
I'm glad you've included that.
I love people doing covers of other songs. Like, you can really transform a song, make it your own and that. But I think it's got to work both ways. You've got to respect cover artists and original artists. And you hear of so many venues not accepting people who do originals. Or if somebody does do originals, you know, they say, oh, can you do like a few covers, please, the crowd? No, like, their songs are amazing. And the crowd are going to love their songs. Like, believe in what they're doing. You know, you don't have to sing Wonderwall for the crowd to get up and dance. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I know. So I think that needs to be changed. The narrative needs to be changed a bit. That's my opinion on that one.
Thank you. And so do you believe, on that note, that, like, if you're going to be doing originals, they have to be audience friendly? Or do you believe that, actually, no, they don't have to be audience friendly. They got to be like the kind of arty-farty stuff that you know, come from your heart and everything? Or what's your opinion on that one?
I think all originals...
Do they need to be audience friendly, basically?
I think all of them are audience friendly. Okay. I think the type of audience has a big factor to play with it. But I think also, like, it's... yeah, I don't think that there's such a thing as not audience friendly. Okay, I think, you know... Interesting. You're still putting on a performance. People can still get into it. People can still dance to it. It doesn't matter if it's slow, if they don't like it, if it's like... Go to Wetherspoons. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I think everyone has the potential to really please the crowd. And I don't think enough people realise that. And I think it lowers people's confidence as well. Yeah. Like, so many people think that they can't make it with their own music, or if their music is a certain genre, they think that they can't make it. It's like, no, that's not the case. If you believe that people will like it, people are going to like it. They'll be able to see that confidence. Yeah. If you don't have that confidence, there's one book that you need to read. What's that book again? Guilty Feminist. Yeah, Guilty Feminist, yeah. And Fuck It is really good for confidence. Really? Yeah, the book Fuck It. Yeah, we do allow people to speak French on the show as well. Yeah. Not Spanish. Yeah. It's a really good book. Okay. Like, Really
I'll
good.
check it out. I'll check it out. Yeah, we need to go on to the links thing later on, not just your links. Are there any? So let's not shout out the venues that we don't get on with. Let's give a shout out to the venues that we love. Would you like to?
Yes. Hell yes.
Be my guest on that one.
Everyone who knows me knows that I love Obsidian.
Hey!
Yeah.
Obsidian, long live Obsidian.
Like
Elkie, Damien, Chris, Shannon, Autumn.
Just everyone there, like staff and even like the people that it attracts. Just it's lovely. It's like a big family. I love it.
Yeah.
And
any other venues?
Some other venues. To be fair, I quite like Chaplin's. I enjoy Chaplin's. And I don't know. To be honest, I need to like go to some more venues. Because like I've only been like hanging out in Bournemouth for like a few months. Yeah. Like since December. So
it's funny, but like I remember when we first met, you were telling me that you really want to get out more in the open mic scene. There was a certain venue that I recommended, and even I haven't been there yet.
Oh really? So, which one?
The one in Springbourne. Hint, hint.
Falcon Shed?
Yeah, Falcon Shed.
Yeah. No, I went there.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, that's a nice venue as well.
Yeah? Did you get a gig out of it?
No, I just did it the open mic. But yeah, it was fun.
Okay.
Yeah, it was good.
Well, if you fancy going there sometime, like, we'll go together and whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, great. What advice would you give to artists who are just starting off? So before the open mic thing, like, you know, what advice would you give to them?
Be confident. Turn up that bad bitch energy.
Yeah.
And
what's your definition of a bad bitch?
To me, people assume that when I say like a bad bitch, it's referring to like a female as well. I think anyone can be a bad bitch, you know. I think.
So they got to turn up to a show and just go bow wow, bow wow, bow wow.
Yeah, I think it's just like being confident, not taking any like bullshit from anybody, being yourself, loving yourself. I think it is what you make it. Yeah. But to me, that's what it is, you know. And I think you got to put that into your music as well, and
totally agree.
Who you are when you're performing. Yeah. You got to love yourself. You got to be confident. You got to love your music as well. Do you know what? Like, so many people perform, and straight after they say, "Oh God, I didn't like that," or "I'm so embarrassed."
Yeah, I know one particular person who does that a lot.
It's
well,
like
he doesn't do that anymore, but
you know, you're almost manifesting that.
Yeah.
By saying it.
Yeah. Agreed.
Nobody else heard that one mistake that you made in that song. And I think everyone has such a potential to be amazing, and they just got to believe that they are. And I think, you know, fake it till you make it. Yeah. Exactly. If you're confident in yourself, that's gonna shine through, and people are gonna mirror that confidence. Yeah, I think that's really key.
Thank you. So that's that thing, like, you know, over there to the left. But then on the other side, I don't know, perhaps you have some favourite rock stars or pop stars, especially singers, who are, bluntly put, arseholes. Do you know what I mean by that? Like they take their confidence a little bit too far.
Too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about people like that? Have you met anybody like that on the local scene?
I think I can't think off the top of my head, but like who specifically, but I've definitely met people like that. You're always going to, you're never going to be able to avoid it. And I think it's a shame that...
Is there a middle way? There must be a middle way.
I was going to say, like, it's a shame that some people don't know where to draw the line. Like, there is being confident and being confident in yourself. And then there's being an arse and being quite obnoxious with it and pretentious. And I think there is a big difference between those. And I think a lot of people take it too far. Yeah.
What would your advice be to someone like that?
I don't know really. Like, I don't know. I think...
Grow up, would you? Sort of thing.
Yeah, and remember where you started, and remember
we're all the
love aspect. I think remembering that it's all about love, as cheesy as it is, it sort of keeps you focused and it keeps you kind of down to earth.
Yeah.
And just remembering that message, like, yeah, I think that's like essential.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
That's really good. I like that. Okay, so thank you, Lizzy King, for coming on today's show.
Thank you.
And where can we find you? Not just online, but offline.
Offline, I do like open mics in this area regularly. And I've been going to London as well to do them. But
any particular open mic nights in London that you'd like to recommend?
Well, I'm going to the Dublin Castle on Monday in Camden.
Oh yeah, I went to something.
It's quite well known.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. I think that'll be good. And yeah, like I keep my Instagram and Facebook quite well updated with like where I'm playing next. So if you want to follow me on those, it's Lizzy King Official. Lizzy spelt with a Y. Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you very much. And last question. I know we've only just met, but what are your thoughts on Pufferfish Promotions and everything that we do here?
I think it's amazing. Because, you know, like, we've spoken so much in this interview about the importance of supporting artists and showing each other love, and I think that's essentially what you're doing. Yeah. You know, you're supporting people on the music scene. You know, you're spreading the love by sharing these interviews and the videos of people. I think, I just think it's great.
Thank you. And is there anything that you'd like to see in the future in regards to Pufferfish Promotions and Out of Fashion TV? To perhaps make it more audience friendly?
I think more of these interviews, because like it's really cool, and you could, I don't know, like maybe do different themes or talk about specific topics. But yeah, just like keep doing what you're doing, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Loving it.
And I know that we touched base on veganism.
Yeah.
Earlier. Is there anything that you'd like to say to our viewers, especially the ones who aren't vegan?
Go vegan.
That's it. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Go vegan!
Yes.
And that's it now. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And that's it for today's show, everybody.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're very welcome, Lizzy.